Hi, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about my journey to sustainable health and meaningful success. Today we are just in my car on my lunch break, and I'm just gonna film a stream of consciousness telling you how I feel. The title of this video was not a joke. I am going to talk about the things that I miss about being in Amway, because these are things that I've reflected on recently since kind of coming down off of the whole rush of being in grad school. And after graduating back in December, it's taken me a long time because I reached a lot of burnout, but now I'm getting to a place where I'm like thinking about ambitions again and thinking about, what direction I want to take. And there are things that I miss about my multi-level marketing experience, my Amway experience. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This is an interesting video to start off on, but I documented for about 2 years plus some of the things that I've had to process after leaving my 2.5-year stint in a multi-level marketing company. I definitely do not advocate for joining MLMs, and I certainly think that what I was in was very culty and very abusive and very just like not helpful. My life was not made better in my experience with Amway. I gained a ton of weight. I was at the highest weight that I possibly was at in my entire life. I was losing hair by the end of it. I lost like $18,000. I lost a lot of genuine friends and didn't gain any real friends in that experience. And I alienated my family. My spiritual walk took really deep hits, and it just was like 2.5 years that felt like it set me back. And so I definitely am not saying that like my Amway experience was something that I would go back and do again. It was not. But there are times where sometimes, I don't know, if you're a Bible believer, you may be able to relate to when the Israelites were delivered out of Egypt, and they were in slavery for 400 years. And then they were delivered out of Egypt, and they're wandering in the desert, and the uncertainty of wandering in the desert made them cry out and think, it would be better if we were back in Egypt. It would be better if we were back in slavery, back in captivity. At least we were fed. At least we had some level of security in where our next meal was going to come from. And that's sometimes how I feel about Amway. I mean, obviously, it's nothing compared to that situation, but it's those things where when you have enough distance from a situation, you kind of remember only the good things, but you don't remember the bad parts about it, or vice versa. So it's kind of, the more distance you get from it, you get kind of a consolidated version of your experience without the minute details and all of the factors being considered. I'm not saying that I've lost track at all of the things that were terrible about that situation, but this video is talking about the things that I've been pondering and the things that I truly miss. And the one thing that I don't think ever left me from Amway, even when I left, I think this still stuck with me until now as I'm reflecting, and that is delusion. No, really, I don't think I ever let go of this one delusion that success comes easy to some people, and that there is a version of success out there for me that's not going to take any work, or that is going to be beneficial for all, and not like just basically I'll be living on a yacht somewhere without a care in the world, and everything will be perfect. I think that even though the whole get rich quick scheme of it all, I got hip to, I don't think I realized even when like going back to school and then getting out of school and getting a job that was in my field, which, you know, my last video was about how I was fired from that job. So I think that there's a lot of different messaging in society as a whole about success and how it's so attainable and that you'll never have any problems ever in your life again. And it seems like there's this constant dissatisfaction with the way that things are. And some of it can be good dissatisfaction because it drives you further into like, you know, where you actually want to go. But some of it is just like, girl, you just can't be pleased, can you? And that's kind of what I'm processing through right now, because it's like when I left Amway, I was posting on YouTube and I was happy. And I think I was happy. And so then when the opportunity came to go back to school, I was like, I thought that that was going to increase my career potential tremendously, and I thought that was going to eliminate my student loan debt because of the generosity of my Oma, who, you know, offered to pay off my student loans at that point, like up to that point. So I thought that, you know, by pursuing this, all my problems would be solved. Well, got a bachelor's degree, and suddenly it was like, oh, well, but I didn't have my apartment in Kenosha anymore, and I no longer had a full-time job because I gave that up to go back to school. So now I've got to solve this problem. So that combined with my passion for mental health, I figured, you know, let's just go to grad school. That gives me a little bit more time in the city. It gives me a place to stay because I can stay on campus, and it gives me a little bit more direction because a bachelor's degree in communications is basically, I don't know, I mean, from my experience, it just kind of seems like it's equivalent to what a high school diploma was several years ago. Now it's like a bachelor's in communications is also very generic, and kind of like bare bones for a lot of jobs right now. And so I thought, you know, okay, well, that a master's in clinical mental health counseling, that will give me a leg up. Well, then I graduated that and I got this job. And then, you know, you saw the whole video about how, you know, I quit, got a raise, and then got fired. So that didn't work out. Now, like at that point, I was thinking, I just need a cubicle job again. I left a cubicle job. I had a stable apartment, and I just need another cubicle job. And I was happy then, right? So let me go into this cubicle job. So now I'm working a cubicle job, and there's dissatisfaction with that because work is work. It's not always fun, and there is stress, and there's a reason why you get paid to do it, is because if you would do it without getting paid, that's called a hobby. So what do you want, girl? Do you want to get paid? Because you're going to have to do some work if you want to get paid. And I think that now, you know, graduating and trying to like settle in and find a rhythm, I watch a lot of YouTubers who talk about, you know, success as a small business owner and success as a YouTuber and success as whatever. And you see highlight reels, especially if you're on social media and your main community is social media. You see highlight reels, and rarely do you see the meta filming oneself, filming oneself editing a video that you filmed. Like, you don't see all of the work behind that. You just see someone, you know, waking up at 10 a.m. and getting a matcha latte, and then going to Pilates class, and then coming home and, you know, going to dinner and being able to pay for it, all because you just, you know, whip out your phone and film something every once in a while. That's not the case. And so I think delusion, going back to the whole Amway thing, my delusion was that success will you just got to do a lot of work right up front, and then it's easy street. And really, frankly, the people who have that mega amount of success either have worked so long and so hard, because just like being an Amway diamond doesn't happen but for a very few people. Also, sorry, there's a lot of air traffic noise. But just like an Amway diamond is but, a small percentage of the people who are busting their butts in Amway, that's the same thing with social media people. I mean, how many people have a YouTube channel or have some sort of gig that they're starting up, and how many people actually make it big? So that being said, it's not saying that that's impossible or that it's not worth doing, but honestly, for me, in social media realm, I think for me, I just need to, manage my expectations. Not to say that I can't be successful in social media, but I mean, you're gonna see me not edit this video because I don't have time, because I have a job, because I have a life, because I have a family, and my own personal desire to sit on my phone and play games, and editing a video is not a priority for me. So I don't know. I just think that is the people who make it big, or the people who really achieve that level of wealth. It took a tremendous amount of sacrifice, and in Amway's case, it took sacrifice initially, but then you end up getting that passive income off the backs of other people. And I think I was kidding myself when I thought that wouldn't be the case. And honestly, if I'm looking back now, I couldn't have been so naive to think that I was doing something good. Although I did have a major savior complex back in Amway, because I was thinking I was going to get super, super rich, and I'm doing what God called me to do. And you know what? That's what I miss. I miss the delusion of feeling like I could pursue being mega, mega rich off the backs of other people, but I'm doing them a favor. And I'm giving them the opportunity of a lifetime to make me money. That's the reality of it. So what I'm letting go of is the expectation that there's going to be a level of success for me that means that I'm never going to have problems in life. That's just not going to happen. And so I can have ideals all day long, but the idea of achieving this, like, wake up at 10 a.m., retired at age, 29, and like being able to just live my dream life without ever having to lift a finger, is like not gonna happen. And that means that things in life, in job, in any sort of side gig or anything, it's not gonna be pleasant. It's not gonna be nice all the time. And so I think that I'm coming down off that cloud and realizing that maybe I had this delusion still from Amway and from social media and from all of the other, expectations of, go to college and then you won't have to lift a finger, or you won't have to work as hard to get a good paycheck and earn a living. It's like, not necessarily. I mean, it's just not all that it's cracked up to be. And I don't know why people be cracking it up to be something that it's not. It's very hard to achieve. So kind of managing my expectations for success in that way. But let me tell you what I really miss and that I need to get back. And that is, I miss having a dream. Like, I miss being able to wake up in the morning and feel like I knew exactly what I was gonna do in order to get to where I wanted to go. And really, the only reason why I knew exactly what I was going to do was because I had somebody else doing the thinking for me. That was my upline. And I think this is why I've had a hard time joining any sort of like social clubs, church, or any other group-oriented activity, because honestly, it is intoxicating how sweet it is to be a part of a group of people who all share your same values, all share your same goals, and have the same mentality and mindset that you do, and you're just all working together for this common goal. And if you have any challenge in life whatsoever, you just ask your little guru, your little upline guy, and he's going to tell you all of the answers to life's problems, and you just have to blindly follow and trust that, they're your mentor, they have your back. And that level of mentorship and community, I will say that it's been hard to enter into any sort of setting that even remotely comes close to that, because it was the highest high I've ever felt in life. I cannot even tell you. I just, I feel like I'm a very pessimistic, cynical person since leaving that situation, because not only was my heart broken, not only did I realize, I was brought back to reality real quick once I let go of a lot of those delusions, but it felt so dang good. I mean, bottle that up and sell it for real. I think that was the part of Amway that was probably the most appealing. Was not even just the buco bucks, and not just the being able to mentor people and duplicate and have passive income, and go on these diamond trips all around the world, and drive whatever car you want to drive and wear whatever you want to wear, all the dream stuff. Outside of all of that, it was, like I said, it was intoxicating to be in an environment where everyone was the same as you, even if it was kind of a forced same as you. It was like, everybody just kind of, that's what everybody was expected to do. So, let's not forget that part. Let's not forget the group mind control and the group think and the, manipulation and the toxicity of it all. But in those small moments of unity and togetherness, I mean, there's I don't think I've ever felt a higher high than being at a conference and being in a stadium full of people who all were brainwashed to the same level as you were, and all you had to do was listen and listen to the audio tapes of these people that you idolized, and you just, that was the dream. So the moral of the story, and kind of the point that I'm getting to, and this is kind of where I'm like, all right, how can we turn this around? How can we make this anything? Because basically what I've just told you is that I was delusional and I shouldn't have had a dream, or I shouldn't have had that dream, or that all of my dreams have been like a lie up to this point. And I think, honestly, what I have been intrigued by is how much reading and listening, I mean, the listening part, we had all these audio tapes that, were specific to Amway and were by our Amway upline, but a lot of the books that they recommended for reading, most of them were like mainstream books, like How to Have Friends and Influence People, and like Think and Grow Rich. I don't really like that book, but whatever. But like What to Say When You Talk to Yourself is probably the first one that I want to read again. But it's like, what if I were to reread these Amway book lists, but not read it in the lens of Amway? Like, are there success principles to be gleaned? Is there a way to kind of find that ambition again without the delusion? And this is a question that I have that I do not have the answer to, because I truly think that there are some success gurus who are very much quacks, but maybe they are onto something if you only apply it to a correct vehicle. And I don't even know what that vehicle it would be yet, because I kind of have an entrepreneurial spirit, but your girl likes a paycheck too. She needs to pay her bills. So I don't really know what that looks like, but if you would please, if you have experience in Amway or any other like success entrepreneurial type realm, drop book titles in the comments below, please, and let me know if you would like for me to kind of glean some takeaways from those without the bullshit. And we'll just see where that goes. I think that that's kind of where I want to at least start. I need to have some sort of direction, because right now, the fact that I'm thinking I miss Amway because I had a direction, even though that direction was like 100% destructive and did nothing good for my life and was incredibly delusional and really predatory and manipulative, the fact that I'm thinking like, but wasn't it a little bit nice? Crazy girl, crazy. So anyway, let me know and give me advice. Like, let me know if this is something that you've ever went through, or just like let me know your thoughts, because I certainly would love the community without the cultishness, and would love the feedback, and would love suggestions. And yeah, I'm here to explore some options. Anyway, all right, thank you so much for watching and putting up with all my rambling, and we'll see you for the next upload. Consider subscribing as well. Okay, bye.